I take a deep breath. The smell of lust and leather, barely clearing my mind of anything but his growling laughter. The collar is not yet around my neck, but I am already his, and this feeds him. He will destroy and devour me. He will desecrate and dissolve me. I will revel in every blessed second. Have you been a good girl? Yes, sir. Have you really, really been a good girl? I've tried my entire life to be a good girl. Good enough. Good at something. And I swallow my hesitation and think about the first time I had the nerve not to be a good girl. You know, Fiend was a road warrior. Early 20s, flaming dice tattoo, eyes that made the sun shine, mostly because they were looking at me. I'm 17, on my own in Nashville, Tennessee, where I meet him for the first time selling hot dogs in a parking lot on 2nd Street. Day one, he convinces me to march straight into a store selling souvenir t-shirts, homemade fudge, and leather bullwhips, and buy one of each. That night, we lay in the back of a pickup truck, watching the stars, singing Hotel California at the top of our lungs. And it's there in Music City, as we dance in the rain, right in the middle of the street, that he pulls me close and kisses me. And it's my first kiss, and I come alive. Just before I leave for college, Fiend drives 300 miles in the middle of the night just to sleep by my side. I'm terrified of how my dad will react to suddenly finding a stranger eating Pop-Tarts in his kitchen in the morning. But my newly awakened libido senses it's losing precious time, so I tell him to meet me by the guest house at the other end of our property. The door makes too much noise, so I concoct a plan to slip out the back window. 5 minutes later, I find myself helplessly dangling 5 feet above the juniper bushes, my ass firmly wedged in the window frame. Did anyone hear me? I can't let anyone find me like this. And with a push and an ungraceful tumble, I fall straight to the ground below. And so this is how my first time almost begins. A dark, dank guest house in the woods. A swarm of bees that drive us into the bathroom. My head banging against the base of the toilet. Almost. I panic. Right there with his cock in my hands and a look of pure confusion on his face. I still haven't told him I'm a virgin, and I never do. Instead, he helps me climb back through the window like a proper gentleman and leaves. And I cry myself to sleep alone. This is the night the good girl questions everything. Kneel. Make me. Don't test me. Make me. He grabs the paddle and pulls me up by the collar before I can even finish the words, bringing his eyes level with mine. Sass me again. See what happens. The day I decide I keep the baby, I give him a name. William Wyatt. And I buy a tiny pair of little white booties, with little monkeys embroidered on them. I'm struck by how someone who has so quickly become my entire world could fill such tiny shoes. What will I tell him about his father? What will I tell him about love? You see, things start simply enough with Fox. We're two awkward nerds being awkward nerds together. And I defend him because he's like me. And I often wonder if he remembers the night he took my virginity. Of course he does. You always remember your first. Technically, I raped you. He says that night once he's back in his room, only there's nothing technical about it. He just doesn't stop. And I question the word rape over and over again. Did I say no loud enough? Is it my fault for stopping him when I did? Am I exaggerating? And I search for the remorse in his tone for weeks. For anything that tells me he knows what a mistake he's made, for anything that makes it okay to forgive him. And I take 3 tests before I believe I'm pregnant. I won't have an abortion. I'll find another way. And I turn to friends, but they don't agree with my decision. What about your degree? What about your career? What about your diabetes? I bet he doesn't remember that night, but I do. It's the night I returned to him. And his roommate, storming into the room to defend my honor, is shocked and confused to find me in his bed. It's that night that I'm labeled a liar because I can't explain. I have nowhere else to go. So, we need to talk. You remember the night whatever. The point is, I'm pregnant. No, I don't want anything from you. I don't know. Love me. How could you even say that after you... What do you mean you deserve the chance to be a good father? Well, maybe you should have thought of that before you take him from me. I know your parents could provide for him, but Jesus, how could you? Shortly thereafter, I will lie and tell him the baby's gone. I'm 6 months pregnant, and something is wrong. I'm bleeding and already going into shock. My blood sugar plummets on the operating table, and I almost die. Around me, fathers pace. Around me, families celebrate, and I'm alone. I never get to hold him. He's the mistake. He's the decision I've made. And he's gone. And I no longer feel the need to defend anyone. Now, years after losing William, I'm at a baby shower. And from the second I check yes on the invitation, I regret the entire thing. Aw, look at those cute little baby booties. You know, when I was pregnant, I ate nothing but mashed potatoes for a month. You know, you never really know what love is till you've held your own child in your arms. Jen, don't you want kids someday? I don't know. Maybe someday, I guess. At 30, I look back at the track record. The week my godson's born, I have surgery to remove an empty sac, and I have nightmares where I can hear babies screaming from inside me. I have 4 miscarriages over the course of 7 years. I look back and realize I'm running out of some days. This year, William would have been 13. And that's not a fact I'm ready to accept. In July, I take them out. A pair of tiny white baby booties with monkeys embroidered on them. and I cry fresh tears. This is the year I accept how much maybe someday is killing me. This is the year I stop dreaming. Mom, Dad, I'm sorry. This bloodline will die with me, and I can't even give it a proper fight. I'm sorry. Forgive me. And there are no more prayers to pray. Just these tiny white booties. Lace by lace, he unravels my armor. In the instant I'm naked, I am aware of every flaw on my body. I hate that I feel I failed him already. I hate that I feel unworthy as a woman. I hate that I feel I've wasted my entire youth being fat. And I hate knowing that to find this body sexy is deemed a fetish. Kneel. I said, kneel. It's an acquired taste, submission. But it's one I'm beginning to crave as I see the passion I ignite deep in his eyes. Whose are you? Yours. What will you give me? Everything. The day I finally decide to sell my body, I've reached the end of a very thin rope. Hungry, tired, broke, and out of insulin. What else do I have? If I can give it away to every other man on the internet, why not this? Why not be the whore everyone knows I already am? God, I'm hungry. He's late, giving me just enough time to second guess everything. Did I negotiate enough? What is the going rate for a penniless 18-year-old loser these days? For a month, he's been faithfully buying my used pantyhose. He knows my story. The offer was inevitable. My stomach growls audibly as I open the door, sweaty palms slipping on the doorknob. I fight not to throw up on shoes that cost more than my monthly rent. A litany of what-ifs start running through my head. What if I don't meet his expectations? What if I can't perform well enough? What if the next time anyone sees my body, it's a forensics investigation? What if I like it? What if I like it? Am I supposed to like it? I never like it. Can I fake it? Should I be doing something else right now? By the time I can sneak a peek at what's actually happening, he has me on my back. Are you okay? Mm-hmm. I sink deeper into my half-deflated air mattress. Is he naked? Oh God, he's naked. It's not bad looking. I'd fuck him for free. But I'm not fucking him for free. I'm not fucking him for free. Dear God, what am I doing? After the rape, after William, after the endless parade of nameless visitors, this is the moment my innocence bleeds out, and I will be the one to deal the final blow. And with salvation right there between my legs, I shatter. Are you sure you're okay? One deep breath from insertion, I can feel his erection limp, as if my sudden explosion of tears has drained it right out of him. Fuck. And I brace for impact, like a child about to be scolded, but he's just as panicked as I am. And he pulls me tight to his chest, and he strokes my hair and whispers soothing sounds in my ears. A moment later, he stands up and begins putting himself back together. Come on. Can at least buy you some damn groceries. Heat rises to the surface of my skin, each lash as if it's the one that will flay me, but I refuse to yield. Breathing through the pain, letting the rush carry me where it will. I want to call out. I want to say word. I want to end it, knowing that if I don't, I'll shatter. And that's what he wants. I'm at a breaking point, but I am not yet broken. And I grin because it's this knowledge that makes me invincible. It's mere weeks before I marry Ryan, and I am at the end of a very, very short rope. I've never planned a wedding before. I've never had to juggle budgets and contracts. I will never get divorced simply to never have to go through this again. Hello? I almost hang up, but he already knows it's me. In 28 years, I have never called my father in tears, ever. And now here I am, standing at the edge of a cliff with a noose around my neck, ready to jump because I owe the caterer over $1,000 more than I thought I would, and I am certain my wedding will be a disaster. I know he doesn't have it, but I can't not ask. Daddy? At the age of 12, I planned my mother's funeral. The only person who had ever understood me was gone. And the last words I had said to her were, "Love ya, bye." My stepfather tried, but he was a meth addict who let his friends steal from our house right in front of his blind wife. And his only attempt were the words on her tombstone, "Forever in my heart." Forever in our hearts! And nobody had questioned me. I didn't cry at the funeral. I couldn't look weak. I wouldn't look broken. My dad cried. I hugged people as they walked in. My grandmother cried. I read a poem. My aunts and uncles and cousins cried. And I made jokes to entertain the kids. "Jennifer, what's wrong?" Jesus, he must think I'm dying to have called him like this. This was a bad idea. I need help. I never told my father about my rape. A week after we watched the Twin Towers fall, he had watched me walk through the security checkpoint at SFO, and it's the second time in my life I've seen my father cry. He worries about me, and my own stupid decisions have proven him right. I never told my father about the baby. I had gone home for Christmas vacation and pretended to be a well-adjusted college student. I never told him about the depression or the suicide attempts. I never spoke these things out loud. Not because I didn't think he'd understand. Not because I didn't think he'd be there for me. I never told him these things because I didn't want him to know his only chance in having a kid who wasn't completely broken had failed. And right here on the phone, I shatter. The levee is broken, and he sits on the phone, silently waiting for the storm to settle. So what can I do for you? What do you need? And he's never sounded so calculated. And I realize my father's been waiting my entire life just to be needed. He takes me with the possession of a man who has found himself inside me, filling voids I didn't know I had. You are mine. Yours. You are mine. Completely. You are mine. And I tense before I release, and it's the last minute of control I give to him. Come with me. The sky erupts in brilliant hues of deafening ecstasy. We dissolve together, burning as one flame. Yes. I take a deep breath. The warm scent of him comforting. I am changed. I am cherished. I am his. But the rest of the world, that's mine. Ryan stands with his hand punched through the djembe he gave me for my 25th birthday. Shreds of pictures and love notes scattered around us like confetti. It's the first time I've ever fled a fight. His yells reverberating in my skull, and as I run, I beg him just to chase me down and end it all. The day we met, I was on a date with someone else. I was at the Renaissance Fair and hopelessly bored. His fake Irish accent lured me in as he convinced me to walk in the flag parade, then mocked my flag waving skills the entire time, then disappeared into the crowd. I'd missed my chance. You see, our entire relationship started with a lie. I pretended to lose my debit card, charging back through the Shire in a frenzy of gypsy bells and cleavage. We're midway through a conversation when he becomes visibly focused on what he's doing and blushes. You'll have to excuse me. It's hard to be a gentleman with you like this. Only then do I realize I have completely fallen out of my corset. I am, in fact, topless. A week later, he spent the night at my house and just never left. So you see, our entire marriage has been an avalanche of trial and error. We're fledglings, but we're a team. And together we took a very slippery grasp on our little chunk of the world. We were building our family our way. And God help anyone who would threaten that. God help them. So here he stands with his hand punched through my drum, and my heart stops. God help us. Two people standing in the rubble of the life they fought so hard to build, suddenly coming to the realization that we're responsible for this. And we can either keep throwing bricks at each other, or we can pull together one more time and rebuild. It won't ever be the same. It can't. But it's change. Change is terrifying. I see it in his eyes when I tell him I want to cut my bangs, and he acts like I'm amputating a limb. I see it in his eyes when I tell him I can no longer worry about his reactions to things he might not like. But we are changing. And change is good. Day one of flight attendant training, and I already feel out of my depth. Also, really need a haircut. Many of us won't make it through the 5 weeks of constant testing. After 3 years of chronic pain and illness and weakness and fibromyalgia, what on earth made me think I could do this? I've seen so many people fail, but if I fail, we lose our health insurance and the only stable income we have. I love you, he says that morning on the way to the airport. Just please, don't fuck this up. By that weekend, I really, really need a haircut. So I search on Yelp for a leather shop. If I can find my people, I can find anything I need. The big bear behind the counter looks visibly dubious as I walk in the door. You know what kind of store this is, right? I do, and I have a question for you. Now he looks terrified. And for a moment, I enjoy the tease. Really, all I need is a haircut. Oh, girl, I got you. I stay there for an hour. We discuss the toys in his medical play cabinet. We discuss the new exhibits at the art museum. I leave with plans for the weekend, with a bunch of queer polyamorous burlesque dancers, directions to Target, and an appointment for a haircut. On graduation day, I text Ryan a picture of my wings. I'm disappointed he's not there, but not heartbroken. After years of being convinced I can no longer take care of myself, I've earned my wings, and it's been through nobody's hand but my own. It's lonely, and sometimes I forget which coast I'm on. But I've managed to weave a web of some of the most amazing people I have ever met. They are my chosen family. They are my ohana. And they stretch from coast to coast, but I'm never in one place long enough to feel secure with any of them. It's a very bittersweet security blanket. He holds me now. And we're the closest we've ever been. I remain untouched, but by his hands. Unhearing, but from his voice. Unheld, but from his heart. This is where we are one. This is where I'm home.